Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about the X-Men 97. There's two things I want to talk about: is the justice for Cyclops and Magneto and Rogue's relationship, because a lot of people seem to have forgotten that this just wasn't a apocalypse thing. This has always been something that happened in the comic books, and we need to kind of talk about it. Now, first, we're going to start with Cyclops getting his just desserts in X-Men 97. Granted, like I said, the animation's still wonky to me or whatever, but I will say, because the original voice actor for Cyclops died, so the replacement voice actor did a good job. Sounds just like the original Cyclops. And honestly, it showed how much of a tactician Cyclops is, and it showed how much of a use Cyclops is, because we know when it came to the movies and certain shows, they kind of didn't really show Scott as a leader. I mean, the original X-Men series did show him as a leader, but after that, you get to the movies and it becomes Wolverine again, and like the only other time Cyclops was really like the lead in anything was like X-Men Evolution, where him and Jean Grey were teenagers, and they really showed how much of a tactician Cyclops was right there. And then he was relegated to the side character with Wolverine the X-Man. He was the leader in the X-Men anime series, so that's another one that was really cool. But he was so depressed about Jean's death, though, too, so that because that kind of bothered him a little bit. And with the help of Armor and Emma Frost, he was able to overcome that. But yeah, I enjoyed what they did with Cyclops, because he should have been recognized by everyone as the great leader. Now, in X-Men Evolution, because everybody was talking about that superhero landing, X-Men Evolution already did that time where Cyclops met his brother Havoc at the end of season 1 finale, and they entered the evolution chamber. And when they were falling from the sky, when things was getting destroyed or whatever, and it flashed back to when their parents pushed them out to save their lives or whatever, and how Cyclops wasn't able to save Alex or whatever because he got hit in the head, which knocked him unconscious. So that happened. But this time, since they were together, they both used their powers to slow their descent. So this isn't the first time we've seen Cyclops do it. It's just that because a lot of people forgot about X-Men Evolution, they only remember this scene. But Cyclops has done this before. This isn't something brand new or off the chain. But again, I'm so glad to see Cyclops as leader or whatever. But another thing too is, I know some people were like, oh, Cyclops just wouldn't do this or that. Well, no, if you guys read in the comic books, they start changing Cyclops a little bit. He wasn't the big blue Boy Scout, or like, a lot of people like to say, like, people like Cyclops and Superman, they'd be like, oh, they're boring, or they don't do nothing or whatever. They're so straight laced. No. Cyclops get a lot of development, and I think that's what they're doing in the show. So we'll see if they can keep the momentum up. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, because I know a lot of people were just like, oh no, that's impossible. Cyclops would never do this or that. And I'm just like, once again, if you guys read the comic books, you would know the potential that Cyclops have. Which, again, I'm glad that X-Men 97 really gave Cyclops his flowers when it came to him leading the team, and when it came to him using his powers or whatever. And yes, Cyclops is very combative with hand-to-hand. I don't know why some people seem to forgotten that. They were like, oh my God, Cyclops can fight. Yes, Cyclops can fight. He's a master technician, and he's I think, what was it, Keto or Judo, I believe he was trained in. So he has some hand-to-hand combat training that he does. So it's just kind of weird that everybody kind of forgot about that, but hey, it is what it is when it comes to that situation. But another thing is that we're going to talk about Rogue and Magneto's relationship, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's sick, that's disgusting. No, when Rogue and Magneto got together, she was a grown-ass woman. And even before she joined the X-Men, she was a grown-ass woman. Like, y'all seem to forget the ages of these characters. Rogue was a grown woman at the time. Yes, Magneto might be older, but let's stop taking away the power from a woman. If a woman decides that she wants to be engaged with an older gentleman twice her age, she's allowed to. Just like if the roles were reversed. If a man is in his 20s and she's in her 50s or 60s and they decide to date, oh well, oh well. But y'all have to understand, they were in the Savage Land at the time. And this was before Rogue and Gambit really, like, officially had anything going on or whatever. So for everybody that was talking about, well, we saw them flirt or whatever, when did this happen or whatever. But remember, just because we saw episodes from the original X-Men series, we didn't see every event that happened or every event they chose, because there was a time that they went to the Savage Land, the X-Men and a few X-Men members, and there was a time where Rogue lost all her powers, like no ability or whatever, and her and Magneto had a fling or whatever because he saved her life. And it created like a romantic fling that it was short-lived, but it happened. And this is outside of the Age of Apocalypse, because that relationship happened. That relationship happened in Uncanny, what was it? Uncanny X-Men issue 274. So if it's called Crossroads. So if you guys don't know, you don't know. So why everybody was like, oh my God, this is so crazy or whatever, it happened. It happened. And then later on in the X-Men Legacy run, when Rogue fully had control of her powers, her and Gambit wasn't even dating, or I think they broke up or whatever, and then her and Magneto started dating, and even then Magneto had proposed to marry her and they almost got married. You know what I'm saying? So let's stop pretending like she can't have choices. And again, Rogue is a grown-ass woman. She is about 25, 27 at least, compared to Eric's like 55 to 60-year-old self. So again, it's not unheard of. I mean, first off, look at Magneto. That man is in incredible shape for somebody in their 50s. You know what I'm saying? And Rogue is a Southern Belle sultress who wants to feel touched, and what that whole saying, opposites attracts or whatever. She sees something special in Magneto or whatever. Like, if y'all forget that, yeah, you can be a bad guy or whatever, but there is a connection of human there. And on top of that, both of them, especially Rogue was a bad guy for a while. She was definitely a major villain for Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers, when, because Mystique was also a major villain for her. And then she also was a major threat for the Avengers, where she took down the Avengers team. So again, this isn't unheard of. And then she changed her ways when she absorbed too much of Carol Danvers' power or whatever. And that's another thing too. Remember the whole thing about her locking Carol Danvers in her mind. Well, there was a time where, yeah, she was locked in her mind or whatever, but then when she went to through the Siege Perilous, that shot her out in the Savage Land, where she lost her powers or whatever. It created a physical manifestation of a psychotic, parasited Carol Danvers that's part of her psyche that was attacking Rogue, and Magneto stepped in to save her life. You know what I'm saying? Which created that Fling. And it's something that they never talked about, but it's not something, it's not something that they couldn't, put into the show. Because again, there's a lot of months that happen in between these shows that we're not seeing. So that's another thing that people keep forgetting. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking like, oh, this is disgusting. They're not teenagers. When Rogue and Magneto's relationship started, they were both grown-ass people. So please stop saying that it's disgusting because it's predatory, or no, it's not. And another thing is, y'all can't pick and choose when we're not going to go by comic book accuracy. Like, I hate when people like me talk about, well, accurate to the comic books would be like, hey, let's keep the costume, let's keep the race and sexuality of the character. Y'all be like, oh, it's comics books, not everything needs to be adapted. Okay, great, fine, whatever. But then when they do adapt something from the comic books that y'all don't like, y'all want to be like, this is terrible. Not everything needs to be adapted from the comic books. Okay, ditto then. When I say, hey, I want my characters to look like the characters from the comic books, and you tell me no, keep that in mind when they take a storyline that you don't like from the comic books and bring it into the show. That's how I look at it. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think. Did you guys enjoy the improvement of Cyclops being the leader? Were you guys aware of Rogue and Magneto's past fling? Do you think there's going to be a love triangle between her, Magneto, and Gambit? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.